On a daily basis, slaughterhouse workers around the world handle frightened and often dangerous livestock, while operating industrial grinders, blades, hooks, guns, and saws. In as little as 5 minutes, a pig can be bled, have their organs removed, their hair, skin, and fat stripped away, and their bodies placed in a freezer. And because of the pace slaughterhouse workers are required to work, there are a staggering 2 amputations per week. Statistically speaking, if you work in a meat packing factory for 5 years, there's a 50% chance you'll suffer injury. And in the US, regulations have been recently proposed under the Trump administration to eliminate caps on the speed of slaughter, meaning that slaughterhouses could become even more dangerous, because what are known as line speeds are likely to get much quicker. As a 2019 Human Rights Watch report stated, this is a violation of international human rights standards. But this is before taking into account the immeasurable emotional toll. Workers normalize their actions through repetition and routine, becoming desensitized to the acts of violence, causing psychological distress. That trauma often spills out as violence and addictive behaviors such as dependency on alcohol and drugs. Meatpacking facilities are associated with higher rates of violent crimes in the local area, including rape, child abuse, and sexual assault. The reality is, animals are slaughtered by some of society's most vulnerable humans.
There's no choice. And they'll tell you straight up, you are the most expendable human beings on earth. We can fire you anytime we want, and there's 10 people standing in line down at the unemployment office to take your place. And if they don't do it, we'll go get us a busload of illegals.
In the US, 72% of slaughterhouse workers were born outside the country, with as many as 48% being undocumented immigrants. And this is a pattern seen across the world. These are workers that are less likely to unionize or report injury due to language difficulties or even fear of deportation. We turn a blind eye to their dirty work, but it gets even worse, because slaughterhouse workers are not the only human victims. Countless studies show that living close to factory farms causes serious health conditions. For instance, animal excrement stored in untreated open pit manure lagoons emit a cocktail of dangerous gases.
I saw how close some neighborhoods are to hog operations, like this one in the upper right. People told me about contaminated wells, the stench from hog operations that woke them at night, and children who were mocked at school for smelling like hog waste.
They're blowing animal waste on us, so you really can't stay out there long enough to do anything with your eyes start running water, you start coughing and gagging, feel like you want to throw up, and trying to hold your breath too at the same time, trying to get to and from your destination. They've just taken every freedom that we have away from us. And we're just supposed to become complacent and say, oh, this is okay, this is just a normal way of living.
The smell and the odor is so bad you can't breathe, your eyes water, your throat burns. I've got depression now, I didn't have before. I also have to use an inhaler at times because I can't breathe. I mean, it's just miserable. You're prisoners in your own house.
And if you're wondering why people in these communities don't just leave, the reality is that many don't have the financial luxury to do so. Article 25 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights states that everyone has the right to a standard of living adequate for the health and well-being of himself and his family. The pollution of water and air by factory farming, coupled with the environmental degradation of land, undermine our human rights. This is because they pose a risk to our health and well-being. But the thing is, these effects are not localized, because it's now widely acknowledged that the animal agriculture industry is a leading cause of many forms of environmental degradation, which disproportionately affects low-income families in developing countries. What is more, the inefficiencies of the animal agriculture industry mean that it is also a leading cause of world hunger. It is estimated that 821 million people, or more than 1/9 of the world's population, do not get enough to eat. That's because the food that we produce, which is enough to feed the entire planet and 4.5 billion more people, is tragically fed to animals instead. Based on the most comprehensive analysis to date, more than 80% of agricultural land is used for livestock, which produces just 18% of global calories. The point is, a diet rich in animal products is inefficient, unsustainable, and unfair.
Because if you lived here and saw the way they do, you wouldn't eat no pork. Well, I don't eat bacon because I know where it comes from.
The conversation about this topic doesn't end here, though. To demonstrate this, I want to leave you with a recent speech at the USDA Dietary Guidelines Committee hearing.
I want to talk about the health profiles of communities of color, which, as we know, are generally much worse than the general population. And why is that? It has to do with the guidelines coming out of this committee. The vast majority of people of color in this country are intolerant of the lactose that's in milk. Yet, because they think they have to eat this stuff, they go out, eat it, get sick, and think that they have some sort of intestinal problem. But in fact, when I encourage them to stop eating dairy, their problems cleared up. And so it's really outrageous to encourage people to eat foods we know will make them sick, particularly when the number one reason advanced for dairy foods is its calcium content, but African American women are genetically protected against getting osteoporosis, so we're making them sick for no good reason.